welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another broadcast. Welcome back to the Hatchery Cup number 10, a monthly tournament here on the CranKy Ducklings. I'm of course your Sly VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by the lovely plushies before me as well. Welcome, welcome. It has been far too long. It has been less than 24 hours. Oh my god, it's been a pretty intense weekend, a pretty intense week of StarCraft. There's been a lot going on, especially with the IEM qualifiers, the IEM Katowice qualifiers. We just wrapped up with the Asia qualifiers last night, and tonight we have the European qualifiers as well. And to get a bit of a taste of the kind of caliber of players that we're going to be getting into when it comes to the IEM Katowice Europe server qualifiers, we have something very Euro-centric here in the Hatchery Cup. This is our first time covering it. It is an event that's been running for almost a year at this point, I think. Almost a year of Hatchery Cups here, and yeah, it's something that kind of at least I was keeping my eye on, and I was a little bit hesitant about covering it in general when it comes to European centric tournaments. We haven't really delved too much into it just because I'm in Australia and it's typically at a really bad time slot for us, but especially over the past couple of months, we have been, or at least I have been, adjusting my sleep schedule, and I've been more and more willing to kind of stay up into the late hours of the night and cover things like the House Open Cup, for example, or the Hatchery Cup, soon in the future VK Play tournaments. And yeah, you know, it's just look, I want to cast everything, okay? We have to cast everything, of course. So this is going to be another event that we try to make regular here. Now, unfortunately, this tournament did occur, I believe it was on Friday, over the weekend, so less than a week ago at this point, but the event did already occur. We missed it, unfortunately. We weren't able to cover it live, but we are here covering the replays, covering it for you here in English. I believe there was already another broadcast. I believe Hatsu and maybe Bratok, or I think there was maybe another broadcast on Monday at the start of the week that was covering it in the Russian language, and we're going to be covering it in English here. And yeah, you may be familiar with some of these players. I myself am not familiar with all of them. Gerald, we were casting him earlier yesterday, or this morning, or yesterday night, depending on where you are. We were covering the Polish event, the House Open Cup, and Gerald, he went far in that event. Did go far. We're very familiar with him, of course, a lovely Polish Protoss player. But now we're going to be featuring another player here on CSO Esports, UedSoldier, and I have seen him in brackets before, but I haven't really been able to cover him too much, so I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm always excited to be introduced to new players, introduced to the wider StarCraft scene. And yeah, I'm ready for it. When it comes to the event itself, again, !B in the chat to get a link to the bracket. Be careful with the bracket link because there are spoilers over on the Wikipedia. But again, from my understanding, this is a monthly tournament and open to many regions. I'm not too sure if there's any limitations on who can join. Unsure about that, but a big shout out to someone special in the chat. I do see her, Hatsu TV, in the chat. Again, she's kind of the person behind all of these events, the person behind the Hatchery Cup. Without Hatsu, this event would not be happening. So much love, much support to Hatsu. Very similar to Kashim, for example, who was, of course, the organizer of the House Open Cup over in Poland. We have Hatsu as well, organizing many events and bringing together a lot, not just the Hatchery Cup, but also, there you go. Oh, okay, there you go. But yeah, Hatsu, of course, is behind Hatchery Cup, also other events that are on the horizon later on in December. And yeah, we're even getting a little bit of an update here. It is open to everyone, so yeah, hopefully we can see this event grow even larger. We can get more players getting involved, more casters getting involved, of course, as well. As it looks like, oh, you casted with Nikorak. There we go. Last time it was Bratok. Okay. Also, hold on. Okay. I keep forgetting to ask him. Can he? I'm unsure. I always kind of I've always called him Bratok. Is it Bratok or is it Bratok? Like, do you say the OK separately? I never ask. I always mean to ask him like how to pronounce his name, and I haven't been able to. And we keep saying we should. So I need to know. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. But much love to Bratok, Nikorak, Hatsu as well, covering it earlier this week as we're getting ready to dive into this. I've always said Bratok, but I'm not sure. It's one. Yeah, let's go. It's one word. Okay. Thank you. Like, look, the capitalization throws you off a little bit, throws us off, but good to know. For now, we're going to be diving into our first matchup here, into our first series. It is going to be a PvP. It is going to be a PvP, and just need a moment here to dive on into this. When it comes to the matches, or when it comes to this event itself, we will try to make sure that we're able to cover the future Hatchery Cups live. Today we're going to be covering it via replays, but in the future it should be live during the weekends or Saturdays or Fridays, just making sure that it doesn't conflict with anything else. Otherwise, we're getting ready here for our first best of 3. I believe it's a best of 3s up until the finals, and the finals will be a best of 5. And something a little bit special about this event, and we can sink our teeth into it later on, is that this event actually does have a third place match. Not many events actually have that. Kung Fu Cup holds third place matches, but no one ever casts them because the third place match happens at the same time as the finals, so it kind of falls by the wayside. But thankfully, here tonight, especially because, dziękuję. I know that word, dziękuję. He's speaking Polish. He knows. Proszę. Let's go. I understand. As we're getting into game number 1, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. I know like 6 words in Polish. I know proszę, I know dziękuję, I know dzień dobry, of course, and like a couple of like words here and there. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the green Protoss player representing CSO Esports. It is UedSoldier. Here we go. Okay, we're going to be kicking things up here with a PvP. You do love to see it. And I'm ready to be introduced again to UedSoldier. I haven't had the luxury of casting him in the past. Have been casting like some Team League matches in the past with like CSO Esports and Chicago T Team, for example, and some of these other European-based teams. But yeah, haven't been exposed to him yet. I'm ready for it though. Again, Gerald is going to be coming in as one of the best Protosses in all of Poland. Is going to be coming in as a heavy hitter. But it's a PvP, and again, anything can happen. It's Protoss, baby. Aye. For now, we have a 2-gate opener here from UedSoldier. Likewise, the same opener out of Gerald. Everyone is doing the same for the time being. UedSoldier does have a probe out on the map here on the right-hand side, so he could be threatening to throw down a proxy. As for the time being, the second pylon was thrown down in the main base, as the third pylon gets thrown down out on the map. Let's go. A pretty interesting proxy location. It is towards the center of the map. I wouldn't say the best location for something like a proxy robo. This wouldn't be a bad location for a proxy Stargate, just to get ahead economically. A proxy Stargate would lead into something like Oracle Harass, but no, never mind. It is going to be the Bay. The robo. The robotics facility is thrown down, so UedSoldier setting up a 1-base all-in. Okay, really interesting location. We are starting off with adepts, but okay, we have stalkers thereafter. First adept has been revealed, and Geralt is in the dark. So a couple of important things have occurred. One, Geralt with the probe scouts, he did see both pylons. He saw them both in the main base, so everything looks normal so far. Everything looks standard. Everything looks as it should, when really it's anything but. We have the third gateway out on the map as well. Again, the all-in is going to be upon us. At the same time, Geralt going to be threatening a shade towards the main base. Is UedSoldier fast enough to block it? Oh, just barely. Oh, no! The Stalker! We just barely blocked it. Just barely didn't towards the end there. The Adepts do get into the main base. Probes are going to be going down. Again, 2 workers. They do one-shot probes, and it looks like 4, almost 5 workers full here in the main base. Nice control towards the end. UedSoldier keeping that last worker alive. Did pull it back, but now his economy is crippled here, and we're going to have to commit even harder than before. It's all or nothing. Immortals are on the way. Stalkers are rocking out. Meanwhile, behind this, Geralt going for a Twilight Council follow-up. I imagine towards Blink. Still delaying his Nexus, but there we go. Nexus is on the way, and the armies are missing each other. Until now, we have spotted the army of UedSoldier. Geralt, does he turn back around? For now, he's fanning out his units. He's looking for proxies, looking for any kind of hidden pylon. There is one, but over on the other side of the map instead. Gerald, hopefully he races back home, as he is going to be in trouble. Does have 4 Stalkers. No shield battery, by the way. No shield battery, no overcharge. Only Stalkers. He can warp in 2 at a time. UedSoldier does have the production advantage. Is on 3 gateways. We're pushing forward. Army is going to get caught out. But for who? Gerald does take some extra hits, as UedSoldier does dive into the main base, just avoiding the natural base, avoiding the ramp. Shield batteries are now thrown down, but this is a late shield battery. We're going to have to recall back into the main. Pilot's going to be falling. We do supply block. Gerald! The supply block is real good. Force field as well, blocking off so many of those probes. The juggling as well, keeping that Immortal alive. So far, so good. Oh! Juggling those sentries. It looks like we're going to try and focus down the Prism. We do get the Prism in the end. We cannot reinforce. We cannot warp in. The Immortal goes down as well. But there may still just be too much. We have the overcharge, but it has run out. 16 probes go down. But UedSoldier, he has to go for the kill. Looking at the units tab here. UedSoldier is up 1 Stalker. But we still have the shield battery. 2 shield batteries even. Behind this, we have another Immortal on the way, but we're running out of steam. Despite that, even though UedSoldier may be forced out of the main base, Gerald, he's down to 12 workers. Has almost half the worker count of UedSoldier. Does have another Nexus, so he can make 2 workers at a time. Blink is about to finish up, so Gerald, he has certain advantages, but the economy, it's in shambles. It's almost non-existent. And UedSoldier, he can keep warping, and he catches the army. 2 Stalkers go down, and just like that, Gerald, he's losing momentum. Losing a lot of Stalkers. Does pull back, gonna try to catch some reinforcements, but UedSoldier, he just keeps on pushing. Looks like Gerald, he may catch a Stalker here out on the map. But what's back at home? The production! Stalker does get caught out. Nice pick off out of Gerald, but the pylon's gonna go down, and that is it. That is all the production depowered, and no more gateways, no more nothing. Gerald is racing back home. He's got 4 Stalkers and 1 Zealot. Against this army, I don't know if I can believe. The Immortal is being focused down. Oh my god, getting a lot of damage done. The Blinks! Gerald keeping all of his units alive. Oh my god. Zealot's gonna go down, but we don't care about the Zealot. It's fine. As we, unfortunately, we have an economy. That's the problem here, is that UedSoldier is fully saturated on 1 base. He's continuing to reinforce, warping in. That was impressive, though. That was a very impressive fight from Gerald to be able to maintain his Stalker count, to be able to shut down that Immortal. That was some good stuff, but there's only so much you can really accomplish here, as here comes UedSoldier with another Immortal. He just doesn't stop. Shield battery is depowered. There's another one in the mineral line. We're going to be focusing down the Nexus. From here, if UedSoldier wanted to, we could even try to expand. We could go for the natural, but alas, he's still just trying to barrel down the front door here of Gerald. We have high ground vision with the Observer. There's a sentry for force fields, but now we have the Prism. Even if a force field is thrown down, we can juggle away. Where's the force field? Again, it's thrown down, but we can avoid it. And UedSoldier snowballing out of control. He's going to be able to shut down this gateway. And he'll be able to shut down the other as well. No more energy, no more force fields. The shield battery on the high ground was repowered. We will have an overcharge. But we're within range. We're down to 1 gateway left. Gerald is throwing down 2 more gateways in the main base behind this, trying to keep his production going. He is actually getting back into this economically. He's recovering with his probe count. He is slowly recovering. Meanwhile, we have arrived with a 2nd Immortal. Once again, being so meticulous here with the control, making sure that they do not be focused down. From here, we could try to rotate around and maybe even go into the main, but we're just going to try to force our way in. Forcing our way up the ramp. The Prism, oh my god. Prism does get targeted for a moment, but does survive. Only losing shields. And that was the last force field. And now we could head on in. There's another force field, another sentry. We cut the army in half. We have the overcharge. We see UedSoldier actually pulling back. The boys are being pulled as well. More workers are going down. We fought so hard to rebuild the worker count. And it's still in shambles. And there we go. This is all we have left here for Gerald. Going for his last stand. He locks himself in. There's no escape, but UedSoldier has no intention of escaping. The prism goes down. That's all we had left. 0 probes remaining, and it looks like UedSoldier is going to be taking a lead in the series. GG! Oh my god. GG, well played. The soldier takes game number 1. And I'm a little bit in shock. I'm a little bit in shock. I'm definitely impressed here. Gerald, of course, a little bit greedy early on. I mean, I say a little bit greedy. Remember, winding it all back at the start of game 1, Gerald, he did go for the probe scout. He did confirm that all the pylons were where they should be. That's why it was really interesting. So UedSoldier, he got a 3rd pylon really early on, but that was the proxy pylon, just to make it look like everything was normal, just to kind of lure Gerald into a false sense of security. And Gerald did expose himself. Again, the last thing he was expecting was a 1-base all-in, because he was counting pylons and because he was checking gases and everything was looking as it should. By the time he realized what was going on, he'd invested into a Twilight Council, into the Nexus, only had 2 gateways. He didn't really have what he needed to defend. So, yeah, UedSoldier just catching Gerald with his pants down. GG. With that, he does take a lead in the series, and it's going to be on Gerald to fight back. And again, coming into this, Gerald is the favorite player. He's straight up one of the best Protoss in Poland. Arguably the best Protoss, you know? Like, who else can contest against him? Christianer, Mana, Bapi even, and, you know, they're comparable, don't get me wrong, but Gerald, he's very accomplished as a player. Very accomplished, and yeah, that's a big win for Soldier. Big win. Also, hold on. Am I crazy? Is UedSoldier, is that like a Terran unit? Is that like a United Earth Directorate? Okay, yeah. I feel so weird calling someone UedSoldier and they're not a Terran player. Because that's what it is. It's the United Earth Directorate. That's it. It's the UED in the lore. So was UedSoldier, did he race switch? Did he start as a Terran and switch to a Protoss, or is there some lore behind that? I'm curious. It's kind of like what's another example of that? There's examples on the ladder, right, where you're casting someone called like Protoss and they're playing Zerg, you know, for example, something like that. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the green Protoss player representing CSO Esports, the underdog, but leading the series 1-0. It is UedSoldier. Imagine like suddenly learning about UED. Well, I mean, I knew about it. That's the reason why I brought it up, is because I know that it's like the Terran like forces. I say force. There's a lot of different Terran forces in StarCraft, but yeah. It's why whenever I saw his name on the bracket, I thought he was a Terran player. It just made sense in the brain, in my mind. Guess it's like Raynor. True, I think that's a good example. Yeah, Raynor, who's not a Terran player, even though he called himself after Raynor, the Terran. Guess that's a good example. United Earth Directorate. Ah, quack, Bobby, quack. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And so far, once again, a 2-gate opener here from UedSoldier. Likewise, a 2-gate opener from Gerald as well. Everything is looking normal. Everything's looking quite mirrored here between the players. If you do remember, even last game we did throw down the second pylon in the main, but then we committed to a proxy across the map. After doing it in game 1, I can't imagine UedSoldier would do it 2 games in a row though. I feel like that's not the wisest of moves, especially against a player of the caliber of Gerald. I'm sure Gerald is going to be playing a lot safer this time, especially because this is a best of 3. Gerald, he is up against the wall. And we'll see how he is able to react. How he adjusts even. But now we have our first starting units. It's going to be double Stalker out of UedSoldier, double Adept out of Gerald. Interesting choices. If you do recall in game 1, UedSoldier did open up double Adept as well, and they were able to try to block each other, and there was a bit of a back and forth going on. But essentially, with our starting units, Gerald is going to be the aggressor, and UedSoldier is looking to be the defender. The probe is sticking around. The goal here of this probe is to get an eye on the first 2 units. Likewise, the same can be said for this, as the 2 stalkers have been revealed. And the adepts are moving out. UedSoldier still, I believe, unaware. I don't think he saw the adepts, as the probe did evacuate a little bit sooner. Behind this, we do have a robo follow-up here, a very safe way to open up. This could still actually lead into a one base all-in. We'll see if we throw down a 3rd gateway. Otherwise, very safe, as we are looking to expand. Meanwhile, across the map, UedSoldier committed to Stalkers, going into a Twilight Council, working on a very fast blink, and going for a 3rd gateway. Oh my god. Okay, this is looking like another one base all in. This is looking like a proxy gateway, maybe a 4-gate blink. For now, we have 3 gateways, but we have that probe across the map. Adepts say threaten that shade. We do throw down that wall just in time. Adepts will not make their way in. Yeah, there it is. There's a pylon. So it looks like a 1 base 4-gate all in. 4-gate blink all in, I should emphasize. But because Gerald did open up Robo, this is why I mentioned that this is a very safe way to open, because you're still expanding, you're taking your natural, and you have very fast Immortal production. Like, the Immortals are ideal defensively in this situation. They just chew their way through Stalkers so easily. The Immortal count's going to be getting higher and higher. Adept shades in, and we do get eyes on the 3rd gateway. I don't believe we saw the tech. We did not see the Twilight Council, but we saw the 3rd gateway, and that's enough of a tell. We also saw the lack of expansion, and Gerald is getting ready back at home. We have sentries for force fields. We have shield batteries as well, soon to be an overcharge. Gerald, he is fortifying himself quite hard. There's that proxy 4th gate. So Gerald, he's almost blind countering what's happening, essentially, because of how safe he opened up without seeing much of anything initially. Like, this is just, yeah, working so well for Gerald. He even throws down a 3rd gateway just to be even safer, just so we can keep up in the production. And how do we break this? We don't just have 1 shield battery, we have a 2nd shield battery as well. 2 Immortals, the Force Fields, the Guardian Shield. And here we go, UedSoldier. Now, the one upside here for UedSoldier, he does have a lot of Stalkers. He can try to focus them down. He does dive on top of the Stalkers, but the Force Fields! He does get trapped. These 2 Immortals going ham on the army. He's going to be able to focus down 2 of those Stalkers. Oof. But that was a brutal trade. That was 4 Stalker. Almost 1-to-1 trade. Not too bad. Takes down a shield battery. But the Immortals, that's the problem. We need to deal with them. Now, what I was about to say is that because we have Blink, we could actually try to bypass the army and go into the main and avoid the shield batteries, but we don't have high ground vision. No vision, unfortunately. We're going to be able to pick off some of these sentries. I believe 1 sentry did go down. As the game progresses, Gerald, he's getting further and further ahead. We're up to 3 Immortals. We have 3 Immortals at this point. It doesn't look like a lot, but each Immortal represents almost, what, 5 Stalkers on their own? They're insane. Especially with support. Shields are going to be triggered. Now, the downside here is that Geralt cannot push out. That's the downside of this opener and this build of Geralt, is he doesn't have Blink, he doesn't have any way to have much of a maneuverable army. So he's going to be stuck contained, but he's up against an all-in. So, I mean, Geralt, he doesn't have to push out. And here we go. We dive on the army. We focus down one of the Immortals. Overcharge is pop. Can we get the... We do get the 2nd Immortal. Up. And we don't quite get the 3rd. It was a good effort here by UedSoldier, but doesn't get that 3rd Immortal. Yeah, GG's going to get called. He knows he cannot break him, and Geralt will survive. He will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Geralt just blindly opening up as safe as he could, and yeah, just rolling the dice, rolling well, anticipating the all-in from UedSoldier. And now things get interesting. We're tied up, we're 1-1. The question becomes, where does game 3 take us? So far, UedSoldier has all-in, or has gone for a 1-base all-in variation every game in this series. Do we do the same? Do we commit and do the same in game 3? I hope not. I feel like game 2 has showed us that Geralt, he's now kind of caught wind of his opponent. He's now aware of how aggressive he can be. He's aware of how assertive he can be, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another robo opener out of Gerald and just very safe play. So it's going to be on UedSoldier now to adjust. And as we get ready for the ace match, a big shout out to Hatsu. Big shout out to Hatsu TV. Thank you so much for resubscribing 4 months. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Again, I mentioned before, but a big shout out to Hatsu. Again, she is one of the big names behind this tournament, behind the Hatchery Cup. So big shout out. As we're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the top left hand corner of Hardlead, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming, tying up the series 1-1. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the green Protoss player representing CSO Esports being forced into the ace match. It is UedSoldier. Not a Terran. Not a Terran. And once again, we have 2 gate openers all around, as to be expected here on a map like Hardlead. Oh, that's the other thing, actually. We are loading into Hardlead, a very short rush distance by ground. Aggression is seen time and time again on a map as small as this, and it does kind of lend itself towards aggressive plays, whether it's a 1-base all-in, a 2-base all-in, like these big timing attacks. They can snowball out of control on a map like Hardlead. So on the one hand, the map would kind of favor that kind of playstyle. On the other hand, again, I would not be surprised if Gerald does open up Robo, and I'm really curious to see how UedSoldier, how he does kind of, again, adapt over the course of this series. Probes are being sent out. Gerald's going to be coming in for a scout. UedSoldier keeping his probe hidden. This is looking like a fake proxy pylon. I like this. I do appreciate this. Probe is going to be coming in. So far, there's only 1 pylon in the main. The swag wall, let's go. We do throw down the proxy pylon out on the map, and Gerald is aware of this. He's aware that the pylon is missing, and I love this from UedSoldier, just because. And what's really cool about this wall actually is I believe it allows a unit to go through, but it's a really long path, so you have a really long time to react and throw down something to wall off against these adepts. So you have a little bit of extra time, a couple of extra seconds to yourself, which is really cool. But yeah, we have noticed that the second pylon is missing, so Gerald, he's aware that there's potential for a proxy. He's aware of that at least. Third pylon thrown down for Gerald. Likewise for UedSoldier. Up. There we go. The first 2 units have been revealed. It's going to be a Stalker and a Sentry. A very safe opener from UedSoldier. Meanwhile, once again, yep, Gerald, he's going for a Robo. As we assumed, it makes a lot of sense based on how UedSoldier has been playing this series. It makes sense for Gerald to, once again, 2 games in a row, go for the Robo. Go for faster Immortal production. Meanwhile, for the first time this series, we're expanding. We're taking an expansion. Adepts, they do threaten the shade. As you mentioned before, again, because of the placement of these buildings, it creates like a little trench, and it gives you a little bit more time to react against something like these shades. As the Adepts are going to be shut down. They do get a couple of worker kills. 2 probes go down. But UedSoldier, he will have the slightly better economy. Twilight Council's on the way for Blink, I imagine. And because we opened up Sentry, this is the power of a Sentry-based opener, is the hallucination. We're going to be coming in, and we should be able to see everything in the main base of our opponent. That's why Sentry openers are so commonplace and considered to be very safe, just because you can scout everything you need to. So they dive into the main. The Robo opener has been confirmed, and Geralt is already working and building up that Immortal count. Does cancel the Immortal. Oh my. That was crazy. The Immortal has been cancelled, and we're going for a Prism. We could even throw down a 3rd gateway, and Geralt, he can be the one being aggressive himself. There it is. There's a 3rd gateway. So the turns are tabling. We're going to see a bit of a role reversal here. Instead of Geralt being the defender, UedSoldier, he's going to be back at home defending, surviving, and Geralt is going to be in his face. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. UedSoldier with Blink, he'll have the mobile army, yes, but it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit for Blink to really kick in. Before that does occur, Geralt, he's going to be pushing out with his Warp Prism with reinforcements. He can warp in 3 Stalkers at a time. and he can try to dive into the main base. Now, I imagine we're going to be going for Adept Harass. That's typically the way you want to go with this because you can ferry the Adepts right into the mineral line and just wreak havoc. Despite the efforts here to try to make sure that Adepts do not get into the main, you cannot stop the Warp Prism. And there it is. Adepts are on the way. So Gerald, he's going for some harass. We're going to have Adepts shading to the natural. We're going to have Adepts going into the main. Behind this, Gerald is building up his Immortal counts. We do have the Twilight Council on the way to get into eventually Blink. And we'll see how much damage Gerald can get done. There we go. Additional depths are in production. Meanwhile, behind this, the Observer sees everything. Gerald, he has eyes on everything here at the natural, is where the positioning of the army. And we do not commit to the shade at the same time, though we do get into the main. And probes are going down. UedSoldiers being pulled apart. 4 workers go down. We deny any kind of mining here in the main base. And at the same time, we can just threaten the shade into the natural as well. And we do commit. We commit to the shades, and probes are going to be falling left and right in a mirror matchup. This is brutal. 2 Adepts are saved in the main. In the natural, they will go down, but that is 8 worker kills and a lot of lost mining time. So very nice moves here from Gerald. Even though UedSoldier had the slightly faster expansion, Gerald has the better economy. He is up in workers. He is, I would say, up in army as well with these Immortals. Ay, ay, ay. 2 Immortals here back at home, going for a Gateway Explosion. Blink is on the way. Now, what I will say about UedSoldier is that as Blink is done, and Blink is soon going to wrap up for both players, he already has +1. +1 is about to finish up, and we can go straight into +2 from here. So in a head-to-head fight, UED's army, his Stalkers are going to be better than the Stalkers of Gerald, that is true, but that's why we have these Immortals. The Immortals, they make up for the fact that Gerald, he's going to have like worse upgrades, maybe even lower Stalker count. The Immortals do so much here for the army of Gerald. Oh no! Meanwhile, across some of the Adepts, they get in once again. Ay, ay, ay. 2 Adepts into the main, 5 more workers go down, and we still have Adepts threatening that natural as well. UedSoldier, he's in position, but as we can see, despite his army, he still is unable to preserve his workers, and he's falling further behind here in that economy. +2 is on the way. Gerald, he's taking his 3rd. UedSoldier still only on 2 bases. Hallucination Scout does confirm the 3rd, and now UedSoldier, he has to make a choice. Does he try to get into a 3rd base despite being so far behind in the timing of the 3rd, or do we double down and go all in? When it comes to the gateways, yeah, we're going for a gateway explosion. We're teching up, actually. We're going up into a robotics bay. Very interesting. This is a way to come back, but we are still going to be behind economically. We're going for Glaive. Oh my god. We're going for Glaive Adepts. It looks like we're going for a 2 base. Well, wait, there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on right now. Okay. So we have a gateway explosion. We still don't have a 3rd base. We have 2 robos, by the way. 2 robos in production. 3 robos in total to go for triple disruptor production, which is wild. And we're going for glaives. Unfortunately, Gerald is here. Gerald has arrived. Looking to knock down that front door. Now, the goal here for Gerald is not to break the natural. It is to contain, to deny the 3rd base over and over again, to contain UedSoldier to 2 bases and just get further and further ahead economically. He doesn't have to push in. Wait, what? We're going into triple Colossus production? Oh my, what's happening right now? We're making 3 Colossi at a time. So I'm a little bit concerned because we can't really sustain this. We're gonna make 3 Colossi. I don't think we can make like another wave though. We can't make 6. We just don't have the money for it. Especially if we're gonna be going for a warping of Adepts. There's a lot of tech going on right now. There's a lot of tech. On 2 bases, I don't know if we can really sustain ourselves, and Gerald, he will have the larger army. As a result, shield batteries, cannons on the way back at home. UedSoldier doing his best Skillus impression. Skillus, one of the few top tier Protoss players that does go Colossus in PvP. Colossus, they have their place. They're kind of like, they're an alternate way to deal with charge lots. Essentially, that's kind of what they are. They do some sustained splash damage. It's good stuff. I mean, it's okay. But behind this, disruptors are on the way. Gerald, he's already getting into disruptors and his opponent into Colossi. I have to favor Gerald's army composition here. Peeking off a unit. Rotating around. Prism's going to be threatening that main. UedSoldier is going to be pushing out. And this is what I was concerned about. Like, this was a pretty big investment, and we can only afford to make that first wave of Colossi. We are moving out. Gerald's going to recall back home, getting a 4th. Disruptors have arrived, making 2 disruptors at a time here for Gerald, and he can sustain himself. He can just pump out, or continue to pump out these disruptors, and UedSoldier's all in. It's all or nothing here for the green Protoss. Never goes up. At the same time, the Adepts, they get into the natural. We gotta go, but we gotta send it. That's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. Not a bad start. But we gotta keep on pushing, and pushing into disruptors is just so difficult. One disruptor does get caught out. Nova goes off, picks off some of those Adepts. As we're gonna be pushing into a concave shield batteries, cannons, it's all set up. Overcharge is gonna be popped. We blinked. The Immortal's exposed, and Gerald, he's gonna be able to collapse on this army. Another big Nova as well, does not connect. Oh my god, just barely. But we can focus on the Colossi one after the other. Looks like one Colossus is barely going to be able to hold on. The Stalkers, they push through. But here come the Immortals. Here comes the rest of the army. We still have Disruptors. The Prism has arrived to reinforce. Ooh, the Nova connects with the Colossus, something that you don't see too often. And the final Colossi is going to go down, and that's going to be all that we had left. We have a couple of Stalkers remaining. We are blinking our hearts out, but against Immortals, there's no winning this fight. GG will get called, and Gerald will tie up this. Will take the series. Sorry, 2-1. GG. The hell do we just watch? GG, well played. I do appreciate that UedSoldier, he did take a different route. He had a much more macro-oriented playstyle. I mean, hey, he took a natural. He took a natural for the first time this series. Mad props here to UedSoldier. I like how he played the series out. But unfortunately, the Adept harass was just too much to deal with. So many workers went down, and we saw that UedSoldier just could not take a third. I don't know if he wanted to, but I do think he did. He did want to take a third base. Eventually, he realized how far behind he was when he saw the third of his opponent, and he just doubled down. Bam. Mass Robo, Glaives, big 2-base all in. UED was forced into that situation, didn't want to be there, and a lot of that did come down to the harassment here of Gerald. Really good as well for Gerald to adjust as well on the fly. Winding it back, I don't know if you remember, but Gerald, he went for an Observer into a Immortal with his Robo first. He was going for an Immortal after the Observer. And then after he realized that his opponent was expanding, he cancelled the Immortal, didn't make it, and went straight into a War Prism instead. He knew that he didn't need Immortals, his opponent was being economic, and instead, harassing with the Adepts would kind of bear him like more fruit. You know, it would be more impactful, and yeah, Gerald, he was so quick to adjust, so quick to respond, and yeah, in the end, GG, well played. Gerald did take it, but wasn't the easiest of games, so a big shout out to UedSoldier. Did well for himself. And yeah, I think that was one of my first times casting him as a player, and I like what I see. I think some of it was a little bit crazy and a little bit wild, but I can get behind it, and I look forward to seeing more of UedSoldier in the future. I look forward to it. As Gerald, he's going to be advancing on, I believe, into the semifinals. We're covering quarterfinals matches at the moment, so Geralt advances on. Meanwhile, we have another quarterfinals match, another PvP. It's a lot of Protoss. But it's okay, I like it, I like it. Especially when there's a lot of aggression and a lot of mind games, I can get behind a Protoss switch to Protoss. Easily, easily.